Hello everyone, thanks very much for joining me today. You're joining me on the one-shot qualifying lap at Daytona Milton Keynes Elite Karting Series. We're starting the lap. We've got some guy ahead of us who's just spun. So unfortunately, our lap is really heavily compromised before we've even started to get going. I'm still going to continue. Like I said, you've only got one opportunity to set a lap time. Even though we were certainly compromised and we've definitely lost some time, we haven't been compromised hugely. You know, we weren't sort of completely blocked or anything like that. So I'm going to proceed. I know that it's very unlikely now that I'm going to be able to challenge the pole, but it was a little bit of a difficult practice session anyway. My first kart, the brake pedal kept, when I pressed the brake pedal, it wouldn't spring back up again. And these karts have got a system where you can't double pedal. If you press the brake pedal, then it cuts the engine. So the fact that the pedal wasn't coming back forward again meant it was really difficult. So I had to change the kart. Didn't get very much practice in this one, we ended up qualifying P3. Now that sounds pretty good, but actually there were only 3 of us today. So that actually is last place. Never mind though. Here we are, Heat 1. We're up alongside James Brown and Matt Bolton. Now James is really, really good. I believe he was runner-up in the Daytona Championship here. Matt, we know, Matt is a very, very strong driver as well. So it's going to be really, really tricky to get on terms with these boys. But we're going to see what we can do. We're in a different kart again now, 118, and we're having a look up the inside of Matt, and we're going to see what we can do. James just sticks his hand up in the air there, it wasn't clear to me why he did that. In fact, actually, at the time, I didn't really notice him doing that. But we're going to proceed. It's going to become clear as to why he did that in just a moment. Now, we're 2 grids. We are the heavyweight grid, the 3 of us, but there's a big lightweight grid as well. Now they're starting behind, and there is a red flag. So red flag's out. What actually happened as we make our way around, these 2 guys on the right hand side, they struggled to get off the line, I believe. So we were just about to enter this straight here, and the lightweight grid hadn't been able to get away. Hello lightweights. We do a little bit of messing around, and we're going to go for the start again. So I'm going to see what we can do. Green flag drops. I stick my nose up the inside, see if we can make anything work. Again, just sort of nose halfway up the inside, but Matt has the better drive, and we have to concede that. And this time we are going to get a clean start, and we are racing. The lightweight battle will be starting just around about now. So they're starting behind us, we're starting ahead, and what can we do about these boys? Now we've already strung out by around about a kart length or 2. That's sort of fairly normal when you're really kind of evenly matched on pace. Although I'd say at this point James Brown is much quicker. We've got yellow flags again. Having seen just what we had seen a moment ago, I think all 3 of us were a little bit concerned about what we might find up here, but it's okay. But look at that, we're doing the bus stop. Actually, we'll go for a lap in a moment. We're doing the cliff drop and bus stop layout on this round of the Elite Karting Series. And this is Daytona's longest layout. It's not the one that you can do, kind of you just turn up for an arrive and drive. It's only for championship rounds. You see how badly we lost out on the exit of the bus stop. We were offline. We took too much speed through the middle of the bus stop chicane, and we massively lost out. Now, luckily, kind of everywhere else around the track, we're not too bad. We're actually fairly good, and you can see that we are. We're pretty similar on pace with the other boys. So can we do anything? Can we learn how to do the bus stop. That's going to be the first issue. We're okay around here. This is the first of the alternate kind of corners that you don't normally get to practice. Around here I was losing loads of time in practice, but by this time I have made it work. Are we going to get the nose tucked over to the right? We need to be over to the right a little bit more. Now, we weren't quite so bad that time, but can you see that around this track, that is the place where we're losing time. And it's so obvious to me, looking back and watching this now, it's so obvious. But at the time, I didn't notice at all. It sounds almost ridiculous to sort of say that. But yeah, it's true. I genuinely kind of didn't realise where I was making the time or losing the time. During practice, it was really clear to me that I was braking far too late into the chicane, the hairpin right at the bottom of the track. We're going to go for a move now on Matt Bolton. You see, we just get we're forced over to the left-hand side. There's not very much grip out there. Matt defends well, and have a look at James Brown up ahead. He is now just going to be starting to disappear off. We just tap Matt in the rear. Sorry about that, Matty boy. Look up the inside, have to back out. And this battle is really beginning to hot up. But by doing this battle, it's allowing James Brown just to clear off. We hit the back of Matt again. Sorry about that, Matt. I won't keep on apologising to Matt every time I hit the back of him, because I hit the back of him quite a lot. But again, can you see how we were sort of right on his bumper, and we've lost maybe 2-3 kart lengths because we were getting the bus stop wrong. Wrong, naughty. Anyway, we know that we're good everywhere else, and actually, if you keep watching, we are eventually going to learn our lesson regarding how to race through the bus stop. So although we're not going to learn immediately, certainly by the end of this race we are going to get there, and we're fast enough everywhere else to ensure that we can actually stick with Matt and worry him as much as possible. What I was going to say was, if you look at Matt's kart, you might notice that he's not having a great time driving it. It's kart 124. Sometimes he's kind of turning in. We're just going to have a look up the inside here. Can we make it work? No, we can't. We weren't quite alongside, so we had to back out. It's one of those difficult moments. You do, you don't you? And again, we've lost loads of time. That's because we're out of the rev range. But we have got good grip in these tyres, and the bottom end of this kart is good as well. So we're right back on that. Matt's kart 124. It's actually going to be the kart that we get next time around. And once I got into it, I could really easily sort of understand why Matt was struggling to drive it so much. It was very unpredictable. The grip levels, particularly on the rear, were poor. Sometimes you would have loads of grip and it would bite and it would turn in. Sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes you'd be washing wide. Sometimes you'd be turning in, the tyres would bite, and you'd actually end up clipping a barrier. And actually, in turn 2, this lap, Matt did clip a barrier. Actually, he just kissed the left-hand side pod against the barrier. Just demonstrating the feel in this car when Matt was driving it, but also when I was driving it as well. As I ram into the back of Matt again, it was a difficult kart to drive. And although the mid-range in it was okay, I'll demonstrate that point to you in a moment. The mid-range was okay. The grip levels were very poor. It was difficult to drive. There was very little feedback through the throttle pedal, but most of all, the low end in it was really, really poor. And around this layout, coming out of the bus stop, coming out of the hairpin before the bus stop, and some of the other low speed corners like this one here, it's going to be not having a good low end. Look, you see we get a cleaner exit, but certainly Matt's bottom end in his car is not very good. Look, this is what I mean about the mid-range. You see he's gapping us there. So nothing wrong with kart 124 in the mid-range. but sort of everywhere else, really, really struggling. So essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to be worrying the back of Matt this entire race. I'm going to get that car. We're basically going to switch cars, and the whole of Heat 2, he's going to be worrying me. Now we've got a back marker. The back marker tries to point us through, which is very helpful, but we catch him just at the wrong time. Matt locks up. It's a right kerfuffle. Frustration from Matt there, but really just very unfortunate situation. We caught the back marker in a chicane, and he was trying his best to get out of the way, trying his best to be helpful. But unfortunately, it's just one of those things. He has to take the line. He can't just disappear. And actually, in the end, when we were approaching him, I was thinking, right, this might be my chance. I might be able to get Matt here. It'd be good if I could use this back marker to my advantage. In the end, do you know what? Normally it is the first driver to come across slower moving traffic or yellow flags or what have you. It's normally the first driver who gets disadvantaged. But on this case, we actually ended up falling back a little bit. So a bit of an unfortunate one for us. But it's okay because with this car 118, 118, it was a really, really good car actually. I sort of enjoyed driving it. Matt enjoyed driving it when he got in it. He had it for Heats 2 and the feature race. He was able to drive this car for a lot of the time. My third car, so in Heat 2, I drove Matt's car, this one in front of us. Not a nice car. In Heat 3, I got the car I had was fine. It was good. Just give Matt another little tap in the rear. I was able to brake much later than him into the hairpin there, and again that's I think due to Matt's general lack of grip, particularly on the rear. The braking power of the car ahead of us with the tyres that it was on. I don't know if it was the tyres that actually had the biggest problem. I think it was perhaps actually the fact that they were maybe a little bit high on pressure. When you have some footage of me driving this car, then you might notice that there's a little bit of hopping, a little bit of just general lack of rear stability. I think the rear tyres have a bit too much air in them, which certainly doesn't help. Anyway, right on the back of Matt now. Can we do anything? These heats are 10 minutes long. Elite Karting Series, you've got 2 10-minute heats. I think that's right anyway. 2 10-minute heats and a 15-minute final, and also a 9-minute practice plus the one-shot qualifying, which you saw earlier. We don't have loads of time now. We are going to be beginning, I think, to run out of time. And so I'm thinking here, I'm going to go for it. But we just misjudge it, actually. And our front left hits Matt's rear right. I'm going to send Matt back through there because it was a complete misjudgment on my part. Like I said, last lap, I was able to brake much, much later than Matt was into that hairpin. And I was just caught out a little bit there by how early Matt had to brake. Totally my fault. The marshal there just showed the last lap board. Now we really have to ensure that if we're going to make a move, it has to be on this lap. Otherwise, that's it. We've obviously got the pace advantage here, but it means nothing if we can't make clean moves. And this is really, really typical. Last time we were here, practically exactly the same thing happened. James Brown disappeared off in Heats 1 and 2, and then in the feature race, we gave James a much, much better race. I think in today, this car 124 that Matt's driving, it was basically the cork in the bottle. James was able just to drive off, and it was Matt this Heat 2, it's going to be me stopping the person in Heat 3 making any kind of progress and attacking James. But anyway, we're going to go for it again. Here we are, up the inside. We give space for Matt to get on the outside. By giving him space, we drop out of the rev range, and unfortunately Matt gets through. We're going to try and cut back at him, but it's not going to work. There's the checkered flag, and that's it. I'm afraid, even though we had the better pace, we don't make it work. Now, because we got second fastest lap time behind Matt, we're starting P2 now, so James is on our left. We're going to see if we can go all the way around the outside, and we've got yellow flags out again, so I'm not really sure if we're racing. In fact, I'm assuming we're not racing at the moment. Still yellow flags out, so I'm sort of backing off a little bit. Again, the events of Heat 1, where we sort of came across the lightweight pack, are fresh in my mind. And I'm just looking around, trying to work out if we're racing or not. Certainly there's no incident for us to have gone past. But yeah, no, there's no more yellow flags, are there? I guess what's happened there is that the full course yellows kind of continue to show until the lightweights cross the start-finish line. And of course, I didn't really realise that, and the other guys, James and Matt, didn't really realise that either until our sort of second heat. Now we go very wide there. This is what we're talking about. I try and put a squeeze on Matt to stop him getting through, but there he is, and this is really frustrating because I'm going to lose a place to Matt, but we're able just to cut back at him, and yes, we're just able to get through there, so we hold on to our P2. But again, look how much time we've lost to James Brown, who's just disappeared. James, if you're watching, this is very rude of you to disappear off like this, not get involved in the fight. Sorry, but I'd much prefer you to be back here fighting with us rather than winning easily. But we're just going to have to do what Matt did to us in our first race, and just defend really well. Matt didn't really put a foot wrong in terms of his defence at all there. But can you see how much more the steering wheel is moving? I'm trying to catch the rear sort of all the time. With these overinflated balloon-like rear tyres that we're driving on now, we're finding, particularly around here, it's very, very difficult. Maybe next time around I won't be talking over the engine note, but you can hear it really, really bogs down. I'm ducking down, human DRS, trying to make sure that I'm giving this car and its engine the best possible chance of escaping from Matt Bolton, who's behind us. But not easy to do at the moment. And it looks like now that I'm just driving around and it's all sort of very easy. Let me assure you, it's not. I'm really, really struggling to keep. Well, first of all, keep Matt behind, and there he is. You might have just seen his Matt sticking his nose up the inside there on our left-hand side. I'm doing everything I can to block it, everything I can also just to keep this car on track. But whilst you're not watching a battle and you're just watching me driving around, a couple of points of note. Mango Motorsport has a Facebook page. I'll link it in the description below. But if you would like to get involved in a sort of karting community forum, support community for karters, then please do join the Facebook page. That's, I think, is where we're going to do a lot of our chat from now on. It's going to be really good. We've got a few chaps doing the GX200, the GX160s. Rich Melvin Baxter, Andy Hicks representing there. We've got the Elite Karting Series, this race series represented. We've got Club 100, of course, represented. We've got other Daytona Series represented. We've got BPEC represented. We've got Scott Parker, Tom Stalker, James Radovich doing BPEC as well. There's Matt just on our left-hand side. You see the arrow there. Trying really, really hard to keep him behind. Stop it, Matt. Leave me alone. Stay behind me. We've got a lot of kart series represented. Young Rich Melton Baxter has also procured himself a Rotax, senior Rotax, which I was lucky enough to have a go in around Wilton Mill a few weeks ago. Look out, I'm going to try and get a video of that done, but that thing is absolutely insane. It's an absolute beast. Shaking my head there as I know I'm getting this wrong. I'm going defensive into the bus stop, which is obviously going to be catastrophic for my drive down this straight, longest straight on this layout. It's actually the longest straight on every layout. Rich Melton Baxter's senior Rotax. My God, that thing shifts. I was really, really exhausted. We were only doing 10-minute stints, the physical demands of it are just incredible. I'm going to try and get a video out on that. I'm not sure if I'm sort of able to use the footage. I'm going to try and download it as best I can, but I'm honestly, absolutely insane. It was absolutely wonderful to drive that thing, albeit very, very scary. Sort of potentially we could, maybe Mango Motorsport might be doing some senior road tax owner driver sort of stuff in the future as well. So hopefully there should be lots and lots of good content. I'd also say look out for some of the other Mango's videos. You've got Andy Hicks doing some videos, really, really good. James Radovich doing some high quality videos as well, very funny. Rich Malcolm Baxter's doing some wonderful videos. So have a look for those boys as well. And hopefully we're going to sort of build the sport a little bit more. This is a really, really excellent championship, elite karting series in its first season. And the lightweight grid is supported really, really well. Earlier, as we've got some more blue flags here, so I'm getting a little bit worried now. Are we going to get held up by the blue flags? You can still see James ahead of us, even though Matt is fighting me. We've got a back marker here. He knows that we're there, though. He gets right off the racing line. So thank you very much, sir. We were able to get through there very well. Just back to my previous point, though. Lightweight grids really, really healthy in pretty much every championship you see. Really, there's a lot of light young men and sort of kids who get involved in karting. There's kind of less old fat men. Now, come on, old fat men. Oh, there's Matt. Matt comes through. He's there. A robust move there from Matt. I give my little sort of carter's hand gesture there. But Matt did actually say to me afterwards he's going to defend here, but he's not really going to defend into the hairpin. So we're going to go up for a move up the inside here. He doesn't really come back at us. Matt and I spoke about that after the event, after this heat, and he did say that he thought that move that he put on us into the bus stop was a little bit, into the hairpin, was a little bit over the limit, and that's why he didn't really defend into the hairpin at the bottom of the course there. So essentially he was giving me the place back. I did think that might have been what had happened at the time, because as you saw in Heat 1, there's no way that this kart can outbrake the kart that's behind us, that's in Matt's hands at the moment. So I was a little bit surprised I was able to make that move without a little bit of the only reason I could have made it was because Matt was not really defending into the hairpin. So we're still here, sort of right, time's ticking on, isn't it? We've probably only got a minute or two more to survive, but look at the rear. I'm shaking my head in frustration. I'm trying to wheel the kart on. I'm trying to jump in the seat to help the engine out. Just need to survive for one last lap. But no, Matt's come through, and that's going to be it. Unless we can do him all the way around the outside, it's unlikely that's going to happen. Go for the switchback, but Matt puts the squeeze on. We're going to have to back out because turn 1 is not a braking zone. We hit that curb too hard and it sends us wide, and that, I'm afraid, is chance over. Now with the lack of pace in the car, it's very, very unlikely that, and I'm just, I'm not waving my hand at anyone other than myself there, just to be clear about that one as well. Because what's frustrating me here is that when Matt had this kart, he was able to defend well enough and keep me behind. Now I've had it, although we've given it a good go, Matt has eventually found a way through, and that really epitomises this season for me. I said this in previous videos. Pace has been, in this series at least, at Daytona, Milton Keynes and Sandown Park, tracks I know well, pace has been good. I've either been the fastest or it's been very close with Matt, and Matt's been the fastest, or at this moment here, in the first two heats, just like the first two heats last time, James Brown was quite considerably quicker than us. But by the end of the day, I've either matched or beaten James Brown's time. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the feature race, which is coming up. We're on our last lap. The difference is Matt's got a reasonably sizable lead over me in the championship now. and James actually. James is ahead of us on the championship as well. We've each kind of not attended one. I think James has missed 2 rounds. I've missed 1. But you can miss 2 rounds, and it was still it's 6 of the best 8, I think, that count. So when you take drop scores into account, James is still ahead of me. Have I missed 2 rounds? I'm definitely going to miss 2 anyway by the end of the season. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, we've got Sandown Park, which is my strongest track coming up. As I'm just kind of giving up now, one hand on the wheel, and just bringing it home. I'm not doing anything with that hand. I'm just having a rest. So we've got Sandown Park, which is definitely my best track coming up. We've got a double header at Sandown Park, so hopefully I can try and get some more points and make some inroads. But Matt is now going to be very difficult to catch. Matt in particular, he's got a particularly big lead in the championship. So here's the feature race now. We've changed karts again. Someone else, actually, poor old Andrew McWilliam, who's on pole for the lightweights, is driving the kart that I've just driven, the dog of the kart. And we're in a sort of a new kart. This kart was actually driven by a backmarker in the last race. Again, yellow lights going, but I think we've realised now that that's just because the lightweights are forming up and starting their race. So we are racing. Now we're actually going to make quite a slow start in this race. And you see that I don't know whether it's because a less experienced driver was driving this car before and it's colder. Maybe he's a little bit of fuel in it. Not really sure. But this car eventually does have good pace. And actually I did a 1:13.2, I think, in this car, which was my fastest time of the day. You can see here how much time we're losing to Matt and James. We make a very slow start. Matt got the fastest time in this heat. He was about 1/10.5 faster than me, and then I was second fastest, less than 1/10 faster than James Brown. So sorry to harp on about the fact that I got a faster lap time than James Brown in the feature race. It's just, James, if you're watching, I hope it's because you know that we consider you the gold standard around Daytona, Milton Keynes. So beating you is worth shouting about. But yeah, Matt was really, really quick in this car. I was slow to begin with, but then had decent pace eventually. Unfortunately, though, because I made such a slow start, we've still got yellow flags, haven't we? Anyway, just because I made such a slow start, I never really troubled the back of the 2 karts ahead of me. And that's a shame, because had I got my act together sooner, I could have had a good battle with James. But all of this, I don't really know why I'm not faster. In sort of heat 1, where it was really obvious where I was losing time. It's not really obvious where I'm losing time here in this car. I don't know whether the car just took a little bit longer to warm up. But I'm not making kind of any. That was a bit squirrely. But I'm not really making any kind of obvious mistakes that I can see here. And like I say, the lap time in the end was good. So I can't complain about this kart. It's absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with this kart whatsoever. Just got to try and work out why I've taken so long to sort of get up to speed. But anyway, it's one of those things. I was sort of disappointed to be lagging off, sort of behind James and Matt, who are up ahead of us, and it was a bit of a lonely race in the end. I'm going to have to tell you what happens in this race, because what with all the kind of red flags and mucking around and things, the SD card doesn't quite make the end of the race. So there's a decent amount of race footage left and coming up, but unfortunately we don't see the race finish. So I finished third, and yeah, not particularly close to the back. Yeah, this kind of gap is sort of where we finish him, possibly a little bit high actually. And these boys ahead of us, sadly, I'm a little bit too far back to show it, but there is the start of a good battle. So Matt has just gone up the inside of James. James and Matt side by side. This is going to be a good watch. These two going side by side. Matt's going for the switchback. Matt goes for the move up the inside. James, can he hang it all the way around the outside? Yes, he is. He's now got track position, and James, for the time being at least, maintains his position ahead. And I'm thinking, come on, Tom. Let's see if we can string some clean laps together whilst these boys are fighting. I might be able to catch up with them, and certainly I have caught up with them a little bit. I've gained a second or so this lap, just because of that fighty moment that they had. But still, look, you can see that they're still fighting, and I'm not particularly quick, particularly out of the bus stop. So again, I don't know whether it's me sort of getting overexcited, trying my best to stay up with them, and I'm over driving slightly, again, particularly into the bus stop, which is destroying any drive down the straight. Yeah, not sure what it is really. Have to keep watching my footage, have to keep thinking back. Blue flags out for back markers again. Is it going to cause any kind of difficulty? No, again, he does a really good job to stay out the way there, so thank you very much to him. There we are, a little thank you wave. And the lead hasn't changed either as a result of as a result of the back marker. The battle remains. But yeah, Matt really keeping James honest, and I'd say that everywhere else, I'm sort of thinking out loud as I'm narrating over this. Everywhere else, I'd say that I've gained on them. Again, I know that they're fighting, but it's this area here where, look at that, I'm so slow through there. We were much closer before that bus stop chicane. Now, actually, I'm trying in an attempt to open up the corner as much as possible. I was right over to the left-hand side, and actually, I lost a little bit of rear grip. You might have noticed that I wasn't using all of the track so far today. Not using all of the track on the way into the bus stop chicane. That's just because it's not part of the track that is normally used, and it was really, really dirty on the left-hand side. And actually, you saw Matt getting it wrong in Heat 2, just by using all of the track. Normally, it's what you would expect to do, but he sort of ended up kicking up some dust. It almost looked like he was off the track. He wasn't. He was kicking up dust which had just settled on the track, but that's why I wasn't using it. But perhaps I should have been using it a little bit more, sort of making sure my tyres were a little bit cleaner, and using that extra space, because that does appear to be the main area that I'm really struggling. Let's have a look at it now. Yes, again, there's sort of a half a foot maybe that I could have used there. Just didn't want to because it's so dirty. Anyway, Matt looking around the outside of James. Can he do anything? No, James remains in front at this stage. James defending very, very well. And again, that moment has not brought us back into play, but it certainly brought us a little bit closer than we were. So at least we can enjoy the battle that's going on ahead of us. It's a nice watch, even if we can't be part of it. By this stage in the day, I'm trying to be much more aggressive into the turn 2-3 chicane there, as Matt forces James to go narrow again, goes for the switchback. So have a look at them. Is Matt going to go for the move into the chicane? Yes, he is. Can James hang it around the outside just like he did before? Yes, he can. So James is still in the lead. But Matt's come back at him again. They're side by side, and actually Matt has done it. Matt has done the job there. So that is him into the lead. We've got another back marker just ahead of us here. Is it going to go wrong for Matt again? Again, we caught that back marker at this point last time around. A really, really unfortunate place to catch him. But yeah, fortunate this time that things didn't work out too badly. He's going to let us through on the inside there as well. So thank you very much again. He stayed off the racing line there. So very good. But yeah, I mean, the chaps, ladies, people who are watching, this is essentially how it's going to finish. Matt in kart 118 is able just to gap James ever so slightly. The gap to me and James pretty much stabilises here. And like I say, without wishing to hark on about it, I did manage to get a slightly quicker lap time than James, even though he was a lot further ahead than me. A lot further ahead on the track than I was. What is that? Sort of 2-3 seconds, something like that, 3-4 seconds. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. Let's see you at Sandown Park. See if I can do something about.
Thanks for watching Mango Motorsport, a community for racing fanatics.